Hello everybody, if you want to learn how to edit a vertical social media walkthrough for your real estate photography business that looks like this, then stick around because I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in DaVinci Resolve. This video was actually filmed quite a long time ago, but I'm doing a dub over because the audio was just absolutely trash. My kids were yelling at me all kinds. So let's jump right into it, and I'll give some commentary as we go and show you exactly how I do vertical social media walkthrough videos like I showed you. All right, so here's the clip in the timeline. All we did for here, we clicked and dragged the video into the master area where you import all the files, and then you right click and create a new timeline, and then that's what pops that up. You can rename it whatever you like, double click into it, and that's where we are. It's pretty basic, but these things are wildly popular for real estate listings, and they're a fantastic little add-on that you can have just for extra money coming into your business. So it's really easy to do. Some of it is pretty tedious, but it's not that hard. It's just, speed ramp here. It's like, time forward movement here, speed ramp here, change the speed, add motion blur, that kind of stuff. So it's not super involved. It takes a little bit of getting used to. So you're going to right click and hit retime controls when your timeline is selected. The shortcut for that is Control R, and we want the video to start right here. So we're going to hit B to cut and create our cut right there. Select A to get back out of your cut, and then delete the old one, and then press Control R again to bring up your speed change. We're going to go to our first area that we want to add the first speed point, and we click that little down caret and add our first speed point at that location. And then we're going to add the second speed point, and this is kind of getting tedious. This is what it does, but once you do it enough times, it becomes super easy. So we're going to go all the way over there and then put our third speed point. But so you see these little down carets in all these three locations. You have to, because we want to change the speed from this speed point to this speed point, we hit the area in the middle and then change the speed. I like to do 400%. We can see what this looks like here. So we're just going through and we're going to add whatever speed points in the locations that we want. So I'm going to put mine roundabout right here, and then we'll change the speed to 400%. Change the speed as you go. Don't worry about making it perfect. Add another speed point just right here. I don't know if there's any shortcut to add a speed point where your thing is, so just keep going. Change the speed to 400. Control and scroll wheel moves the timeline back and forth. And then scroll wheel Alt, I believe, makes the timeline smaller and bigger, and Shift and scroll makes that specific thing bigger, so you can see a preview of the clip that you're seeing. So we're going to add another speed point right there, and then change the speed, also to 400%, just kind of cruising through it right before she starts waiting. Slap on another preset, and then I think we'll slow it down again right there. Change the speed. Another speed point to get the entrance of the room. 400%, see what it looks like. Beautiful. And then we're going to add a speed point just a little bit before. I'm skipping some points just because it's, you just go to the direction, the place that you want to change the speed, and then you change the speed. I mean, it's really, it sounds like I'm making it way more like crazy than it actually is. Just go to the point you want the speed to either start or stop, create a speed point, and then create the speed point. And then change the speed of the clip. So it's just add speed point, change speed, add speed point, change speed. And we want to show the bathroom right here, so we want to add the speed point right before. It's this fly going around my room. This is crazy, bothering me. And I don't like how I filmed right there. Like it turns too fast to the right instead of waiting. So you want those to be as smooth as possible. I'll show you how to actually film these instead of just how to edit them. But for now, this is what I have. So this is what we're going through. So you want to add the speed points right before the actual physical transition movement of what you're doing. So if you're holding the camera and you're moving to the left, then you'll add the speed point right before you whip the camera, just to add that accelerated momentum. So you can see I kind of screwed up when I was filming. Like I went to the right and then to the left. If we added the speed point where it had more to go, it'll do this little walking back and forth thing, which I don't like. So we're going to wait to do it until it starts turning the other way. So it's that continued movement. So the slow motion going to the right it'll look a lot better if it's slow. Add another speed point right here, and then go to our desired endpoint, which I want to show this little nook right here. So we're going to add another speed point right there, and then change the speed to, I think, 400%. The whole sequence 400%. See how it looks. Very nice. Add another speed point round about here. Showcase her little movements there. Some realtors like doing that kind of stuff. I don't know how I feel about that. Wow, amazing second bedroom. Add a speed point. Like, you want to showcase the specific areas, so you want to go fast until it's a subject that you want to focus on, and then you'll go slow. And then once you're moving past that subject, then we're going to go fast again. It's just doing that over and over and over again. And then I ended here in this little bathroom kind of weird shot. We're going to add speed point just right here, change the movement speed of the second clip. Yeah, 400%. And then the speed of this one also to 400%. And then we'll see where it ends. Beautiful. It's a little wonky right there, so I shook the camera a little bit too much, so we're just going to cut it right there. You hit B to create the cut, and then you select A to get rid of the cut, and then you click your selected point that you want to delete, and then hit delete. So now we're left with this big old mess. So if we watch it all the way through, this is what it looks like. It's really raw. You know, you could deliver it just like this if you so desired. You know, wouldn't be that big of a deal. But we're going to add a little bit more sauce to it just to make it that much smoother, because you want to deliver these nice looking things to your clients. So if we can just make it a little bit smoother looking, a little bit nicer looking, and that's the difference between like, oh, thanks, this is a vertical walkthrough, versus like, oh, this is really good. Thank you so much. This is awesome. I'm happy with this. And they plaster it all over their social media. Because the last thing you want is to put all this work into something that your clients aren't even going to use. Now what we do is we're going to right click the entire clip. We're going to hit retime curve, and then it brings up this nasty thing. We want to hit retime speed and then get rid of retime frame. We're left with a little bit of square movement. So we select each one of these points and then click the kind of a half circle button. That's what creates the smooth ramping motion. So you just have to go through and click every single one. I think I speed it up here. Yeah, just to get it done, get it over with. And then that creates it a little bit smoother. So instead of just going like, it's immediate, and then you see how this looks exactly. Yeah, it stops. Versus if we do the speed ramp, it's a little bit smoother of a motion. It's slow, slow, fast, slow, slow. You know what I mean? So gives it a little bit better motion. Again, you could just deliver it, exactly like this, but this extra mile, this is what's going to set you apart from your competition. It's a little bit more whipping action, and it's just a lot smoother than just doing the jerky motions where it's, normal speed and then 400% normal speed and then 400%. It's just this nice ramping motion, which is what we want to see. Okay, so we're still not done. We're going to add one more thing, and that is to add motion blur to each one of these points. These look fine, but in the original, there's a little bit of motion blur that I added, and it just separates it just a little bit. When you're going through this, it's tempting to want to start at the beginning to do this motion blur, but if you do that, something interesting happens. It gets rid of everything else that you want to see. It disappears. So we want to start at the end of the timeline so that, what it gets rid of doesn't really matter too much. So we're going to create our first cut. On each of these speed points, we're just going to cut just to make sure, we have the specific clips that we want to work with. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but this is how I did it. It was quick enough. Select A to get back to being able to click things instead of continuing to split clips. Now what we do is we go over to the color space, and then we're going to type in motion in the search bar. And then you want to select which clips you want to add the motion blur to. So you might have to watch the previews and then, just grab the motion blur, drop it onto the node. Don't put it on the slow-mo clips. You want to add it to the sped up clips, because if the normal motion has motion blur, then it's no bueno. But we only want motion blur on the fast clips because that is going to make it that much kind of more buttery smooth. You can see what happens with, what the motion blur is doing. So that's what we want to see. It's up to you how intense you want it to be. So just kind of do it to taste. Yeah, you can see what it looks like, her spinning. I don't like that. And then just kind of speeding through right here, adding motion blur to all the sped up clips. So now it looks like this. A little bit smoother overall. It's hard to tell the difference, but I promise you, if you look at them side by side, like if you watch this and then you go back and watch it without the motion blur and then back and forth, the one with motion blur looks a whole lot better. And this was all filmed with my phone, no gimbal, just walking through. You don't need a gimbal. It's just smooth hand, no stabilization necessary. Just, walk with your hands like that. And that's it. That's all you need to know. And then we go into the Rocket to deliver. Quick settings, we just do format, QuickTime, codec H.264. Make sure the resolution is 1080 by 1920. In our edit tab, we want to go to timeline settings, and then you're going to change that. So you'll want to deselect use project settings and then do 1080 by 1920 processing. And then that's what creates the actual native vertical content. I always take it off automatic quality and restrict to 80,000 kilobits per second. Makes it a little bit nicer. You can leave the rest there and add to render queue and make sure you hit render all and you are done. That's it for this tutorial. If you like what you see, please hit subscribe for all things real estate photography. Post a ton of cool stuff here. So if you want to come along for the ride, make sure you join and turn on the notification bell as well. Alrighty, that's it for me. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.